In Unit 4, we set up an origin-destination analysis in San Francisco. In Unit 5, we'll review our completed project and walk through how to analyze results using both the interactive visualizations tool and by downloading the metrics as CSV files. Visualizing and analyzing results will be the final step in our project creation process. So we'll navigate back to the application, and first we'll make sure that we're on the Manage Travel Projects tab, and that the project we just ran is marked as available with a green check mark. This indicates that the project is ready for download and review. Since we see that our San Francisco cut-through analysis is available, let's move over to the Interactive Visualizations tool to start digging into our results. To do so, I'll move over to the menu icon and select the Interactive Visualizations page. So once I'm there, I'll have the option to select which project I'd like to visualize. I'll select our San Francisco cut-through analysis project right here, and I'll wait for those results to load on the right. Once the results load, the first thing I'm going to want to do is add some filters. I'll add that a full walkthrough of how to navigate our interactive visualizations tool can be found on our support center. So let's say in this case that I want to look at weekdays at the peak PM time period. I already have the weekday filter set. Now I'll select peak PM for my day part. I'll add a filter to look at one origin zone, and then I'll use the drop-down to specify which origin zone I'm interested in analyzing. So say specifically, I want to look at our origin zone on 101 northbound. So you'll see that once I've selected that origin zone, the graphs and the map will adjust. Our origin zone is highlighted in black down here, and all of our destination zones will appear with a color scale representing the relative volume of traffic ending in or passing through the zone. You'll see on the map that the financial district zone highlights in red, indicating that most trips driving northbound on 101 are ending there. If we hover over that zone, we'll see that the StreetLight index value associated with the OD pair is 1595, and we'll dive into the meaning of the StreetLight index in just a minute. In this scenario, that index value represents about 11% of the trips on 101 northbound. Now if we look at the OD volume chart over here on the right, we see that the financial district is first as the top zone, followed closely by the Mission, and then the Bay Bridge in the eastbound direction. And we can click with our mouse to highlight the top 5 OD pairs just by dragging. Click this green check mark, and our results will adjust. To clear that filter, we can just click the X button on the top bar of the screen, and we'll go back to looking at all zones as destinations. Now say we want to look at the 280 northbound zone as our selected origin zone. To do that, we'll just go over here, click 280 northbound, and the green check mark. By adding that new filter, we'll see our results differ dramatically, with destinations clustered on the western side of the city. Here we'll notice that the Golden Gate Bridge is within the top 5 zones, and the Sunset District zone has the highest volume of trips coming from 280. Now let's update our filters again and see how our results change when we look at weekend travel behavior. So let's select average weekend day. So once we select the average weekend day and the all-day time period, we'll see that the Bay Bridge actually jumps back up to one of our most common destinations. And again, this is 280 as our origin. So on the weekends, it appears that more trips traveling northbound on 280 are also heading to the Bay Bridge as well as the Golden Gate Bridge. Keep in mind that there are more sheets to explore within the Interactive Visualizations tool. You'll be able to look at premium trip and traveler attributes on the next tab. That will include things like trip duration, length, speed, and circuity that we added when setting up the project. You can look at advanced visualization options on the third tab, and that will include a chord diagram and a heat matrix as well. Keep in mind that when navigating across tabs, all the filters that you've added will stay consistent. Okay, now that we've explored our results via the Interactive Visualizations tool, let's walk through how to download the metrics directly. So to do that, I'll navigate back to the Manage Travel Projects page and make sure I'm on the All Projects tab. And I'll find our project and click the Download button right here. When I choose to download the metrics, I'll see I have options to choose which components I care about. In our case, I'll just leave the default selections and click Download. Leaving the defaults actually produces the metrics the quickest. And metrics will download as a zip file. So once that downloads, I'll open it. And when you open up the zip folder, you'll see a variety of CSV files as well as helpful README documents. You'll get CSV files for the metrics that were included in the project. Our metrics and matrices are laid out in a database format, as you'll be able to see when we open these up in Excel. This flexible format allows you to easily manipulate the data, create charts and pivot tables as well. So I'll open up the file titled OD-all, the CSV file. And with this file, I'll ultimately be able to reproduce some of the metrics that we received when viewing the results through our Interactive Visualizations tool. In each row, I'll see that I have an origin and a destination listed for each day type and day part combination. So here's that origin zone, destination zone, day type, and day part. Each OD pair will have 3 index values that will come in handy when performing your analysis. And I'll open these fields up here so you can take a better look. The OD index will tell us the relative volume of trips passing between our origin and destination zone for the average day type and day part selected. The origin zone index will tell us the relative volume of trips starting in or passing through our origin zone, regardless of destination. And the destination zone index will tell us the relative volume of trips ending in or passing through our destination zone, regardless of origin. So an example of how you might use these index values is to compare OD pairs. So hypothetically, if one OD pair has an OD index value of 100 and another OD pair has an index value of 200, you could conclude that the second OD pair has twice the volume of trips compared to the first OD pair. Or if you look at a record and see that the origin zone index is 400 and the OD index is 100, you can divide 100 by 400 and conclude that 25% of traffic starting in that origin zone ends in the subsequent destination zone. The 3 index values can also be quickly used in a pivot table, enabling the setup of charts, graphs, and OD matrices. You can also join the data back to a shapefile and visualize in a GIS tool if needed. As you can imagine, there's lots of room to play around with the metrics and display them in a manner most effective for your project. A few more notes about the StreetLight index. Ultimately, the index is meant to help you compare values in the matrix and compare values over time or across projects. This means you'll be able to compare index values across projects run within the same country and with the same data source. It's a normalized index value that accounts for variations in our sample, but does not represent an exact or estimated trip count. If you'd like to work with estimated values, you'll want to use our calibration feature to scale your StreetLight index sample to known AADT values. Projects run with calibration data will produce calibrated index values, which can be used in the exact same way as these index values, and they will actually just show up just to the right of these columns if you add calibration data. We also offer the ability to view raw trip counts for the full data period if that's of interest to you. However, these are not set to an average day or normalized across the months, so they are not good for cross-project comparisons. If you're interested in learning more about our sample size, normalization, or calibration options, again, we'd recommend checking out the associated articles in our support center. So with that, thanks everyone for watching. Please review additional content on our support center and submit requests directly to the support team for questions.